ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode fucking 40. Episode 40, and the one of the few episodes where I remember exactly what episode we're up to. Welcome to the Spearhead Sundays podcast. I'm in a fucking great mood. You want to know why? Do you want to know? I'm going to fucking tell you why. There are several reasons, right? Reason number one, I got flashed while I was on stage for the first time, full on titties and nipples, all right? Secondly, we have, and I'm going to tell you all these stories later, right? Okay, so first I got flashed, I'm going to talk about later. Second, I did my porn star video and it went really fucking well. Third, finally, Spearhead Sundays has its first sponsor and advertiser. Not this episode, but another episode. So that's a fucking thing. What else? Some other shit as well. I'll tell you later. All right, so I'm recording this on Saturday, so if you're a Patreon supporter, you're listening to it tonight. Otherwise, if you're a normal cheap cunt, you're listening to it on Sundays. As always, if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, you get episodes and everything else for free and a whole whatever. Okay, I've told you about it. You fucking know, all right? If you don't know, if you don't know about Patreon by now, you're disabled, and I'm sorry you're going to go through with that every day. And I really hope that you can use public transport without getting called a rapist. All right, so let me tell you the story of last time I checked in with you guys. I was with Luke, and we were both hating stand-up. Right? We were fucking hating it. We weren't enjoying ourselves. We had done it too much. And I was like, you know what? I need a break from stand-up. And from Luke. Because we'd seen each other way too much, okay? And you know what? I haven't seen Luke for about a whole week. And that's great. I miss him now. And I'm in a good mood because of it. But I have not had a break from stand-up. I was supposed to be having a break, but then I went to this gig just to watch Khaled, another good friend of mine who's a stand-up comic. I wanted to watch him perform. And then the crowd energy was so good that I ended up getting up on stage. And then I found out about a show that I was booked for on Tuesday. And I also did a set there. So I did a set on Monday and Tuesday. So really what I think happened is I thought that I needed a break from stand-up, but really I was just sick of Luke. Because I haven't had a break from stand-up, and I feel really good, and I haven't seen Luke, so I think that's why. I was just sick of Luke. I hated that cunt. Didn't even know it. Right, so I got flashed, okay? Let me tell you the story, right? This is something that I never thought would happen to me. A stand-up comedian got flashed tits while he was on stage. That doesn't happen to us. That happens to musicians, that happens to rappers and rock stars. It doesn't happen to comedians, okay? I can't tell you the amount of times I've gone to one of Curse's live shows and I've seen tits. It happens multiple times at multiple shows from lots of different girls. I've been performing stand-up for 3 years and I only just now saw my first pair of tits. And you know what? They were pretty nice. Let me tell you the story, okay? So, I went to Funny at the Brunny, which is at Brunswick Hotel. If you don't know what Brunswick Hotel is, basically it's the rattiest bar you've ever heard of, okay? It's actually pretty cool, but the people there are fucking on drugs because it's Brunswick, okay? So, I was only going to go there to watch Khaled perform. I thought I was going to have a break from stand-up, but I got there and the crowd was just so incredibly rowdy and really loud. And what I've been focusing on improving with my stand-up game recently is my stage presence and controlling the crowd and doing crowd work, because crowd work is something that I've struggled with a lot, because I almost all of the time go to say something funny to a person, but I just end up cutting them really deep and saying something really horrible, and everybody pulls back and goes, that was fucking mean. It's actually surprised me how hard being funny with crowd work is. So that's something that I've been practicing, because it is a skill, right? So I saw that the crowd was really loud and yelly and drunk, and I was like, you know what, this is a challenge and it's fun. I really want to go up there. So I got up there and I just did some shit that I've never done before. I just immediately, I threw away my material because I wasn't prepared to perform. I wasn't feeling like it. I ended up asking the guy who runs it, who's a good friend of mine, and he let me up because he's a sick cunt. And I was like, you know what? Because I wasn't prepared, I'm just going to go up there with no plan. And I went up there and I just immediately started yelling at the crowd because they were yelling at me. And I noticed that other comedians, if they didn't engage the crowd just started screaming and being real drunk. So I just engaged the crowd and I went straight up there and I just went straight away. I did this. Alright, that's right. Yeah, you notice how tall I am, right? Yeah, you notice how tall I am and I notice how fucked up drunk you are, so we're both good. We're good. Alright, so my name's Lewis and I'm 6'8". Yeah. Jeez, everyone's on fucking drugs here. So immediately what I did there is I just walked on stage, I said something incredibly obvious about myself, and then the loudest girl who was the most drunk started yelling at me. And normally I'm pretty bad with that because she was not really heckling, like she was joining in a positive way. So what I did is I just took everything she threw at me and then rolled with it and then put it back on her and then politely let her know, now it's time, now that we've had our little back and forth of banter, you need to shut the fuck up so I can do my job. And that was really good, and that was really positive, and the crowd enjoyed it. And obviously, I'm not going to put my whole set in here because there's a whole bunch of jokes that will be in my show next year that I don't want to ruin for you guys. I'm just going to put in crowd work and off-the-cuff stuff that I didn't write, and that I'll probably never fucking do again because it's just crowd work, right? So I do a little bit more material. I go in and I do some fucking banter about... okay, it doesn't ruin it. Basically what I'm talking about is a lot of the time, because I'm so tall, girls think that it's okay to try and figure out how big my dick is to see whether it matches the rest of me, and I think it's kind of sexual harassment, right? So that's the premise of the joke that I'm telling. I just don't want to ruin it for you guys. So I'm basically saying, you are not allowed to ask me how big my dick is. And then this exchange happens. And you're not allowed. It's rude as fuck. It's kind of sexual harassment. You see, when you were on stage, I didn't go, how big are your tits? Like, not, yeah. So she yells out, right? I'm explaining what I'm seeing throughout this, just so you guys know. So she yells out, they're really small, and she pushes her tits together, like at me. So she hasn't got them out at this point. So then I make a joke about being flashed because that's funny, right? I wasn't actually being flashed, but I made a joke about it and I said this. That's the first time I've been flashed on stage, so cool, that's a milestone for me, I'll take that. And there she pulled it down for real. See, the first time I was joking and now I actually have been flashed, so I'm going to fucking tick that. Well, mate, anyway. No, look, okay. And straight after I said that, she pulled them out for real. She pulled her tits out of her bra, out of her top, full on tits, nipple and everything. And I was going, as you guys heard, I was rolling with the crowd so well. Everything they threw at me, I took it, and then I did some karate shit, and I rolled and took their energy and turned it into my energy and threw it back at them, and then they laughed. But tits rolled me. I definitely, I don't know, I don't think that I was ever prepared for that. I don't think any comedian could ever prepare for someone pulling their tits out. And as soon as she did that, I just went into the fucking caveman thing of, man, titties must fuck on stage. It just put me into that mindset and I completely fucked up. I mean, I got it back, of course, but I couldn't. There was, as soon as she flashed her tits, there was no way I was going to say something funny in response to that. So basically, I just went, oh yeah, you showed me your tits, all right. And then I continued telling other jokes unrelated. So that's a fucking milestone. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to remember that forever as the time that I got flashed on stage. And you know what? made me feel pretty good. Made me feel like I'm doing what I should be doing, because you can't do a shit set and you can't do a bad 5-minute set and see some tits, right? You're only gonna get flashed if you're very good, or if you're performing to horse. So I don't know. It could be a little bit of both. You know what? It probably is both more than my skill, right? I was probably pretty good, and then she was probably a bit of a whore. But you know, I'll take it. All right. So if anybody coming to my show, you know, instead of, you know what? This is what I think. I've never got a standing ovation yet, but you know what? What I would prefer than a standing ovation is just one girl every show pulling her tits out. I think that, to me, would make me feel more accomplished as a comedian, because you've seen comedy specials. They all get standing ovations at the end. I have never seen a comedy special on Netflix where a girl gets her tits out. So that's my goal, really. I want to get on Netflix, and I want to be the first comedian to have a girl pull her tits out while I'm recording a special. So, you know, ladies, if I ever do a special, come and pull your tits out and we'll see what happens, okay? Anyway, what else happened? That was a fucking crazy night. You know, the other thing that happened on that set, I'll put in the audio of this. Sorry if the audio recording's bad. It was just in my phone, in my pocket. So, I don't take a mic and record for the mic professionally when I do just shitty little open mic 5-minute sets things. But later on in my set, I was talking about sexism towards men, and there was this one. I mainly did it because there was this one fucking feminist cunt-looking woman in the front row who was just not laughing at any of the jokes to do with women. She'd laugh at all the stuff trashing men, but none of the stuff with women. So I decided to pull out my material that talks about sexism against men, because it's some of my funniest shit. And that's when she decided to heckle me, and it was a mistake because I fucking destroyed her. So I'm talking about... you don't really need to know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about how men can experience sexism. And then she chimes in with this.
It's really hard being a straight white man, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's really cool, man. That's fucking awesome. You know, I don't know why you're talking about straight white men. You're a white woman. You're number 2. If you fuck this up for me, you're coming straight down to the bottom. No, that reminds me. So there you have it, guys. That was one of the craziest sets I've done for a long time. That was just drugs and alcohol, the set, you know. But I was really happy with how I handled all of the heckles. And that last one from the feminist woman, that's just the most ridiculous thing, because, you know, you want to talk about privilege. How about the girl in front of her who was her friend pulling her tits out, and the only thing that happened was me going, fuck yeah, that's cool. If I pulled my dick out at Brunswick Hotel, I would be curb stomped the fuck out. I'd have no teeth. I'd be arrested. I'd be in jail. It'd be headlines for fucking months. Whereas this chick can pull her tits out and just get a fucking round of applause. But, you know, that's how it is. I'm not complaining, you know. I'm not saying that we should send girls to jail for pulling their tits out at my shows. I'm all for it. Who cares? That's your right, ladies. Free the nipple. But yeah, I've been really focusing on crowd work and stage presence, because so often I'll try it out and just really hurt someone's feelings. Like, I remember a couple of sets before that, there were these 2 girls talking, and this was an example of me being too mean. They were talking throughout my set, and I said, "Excuse me, ladies, I just want to let you know that neither of you are anywhere near hot enough to be that rude and get away with it." And that just fucking ruined my set, because it really hurt their feelings. And everyone was like, wow, that was really mean. And that's just because I was fucking angry at them talking. But, you know, I think I'm getting a lot better at that stuff, because handling hecklers in crowd work is definitely a skill. It's not, you don't just fucking get up on stage and be like, oh, I'm going to be funny. You got to figure out how to roll with the energy, and every crowd's different. So I was happy with how I handled that drugged up one. Hopefully I'll be able to replicate it. So, if everyone comes to my show high on cocaine, it'll be good. What else do I want to talk about? Okay, so because it's episode 40, right, that means we're 10 episodes away from episode 50. And a lot of people have been asking me, Lewis, what are you going to do for episode 50? You should do something special. You should do something special for the shittest podcast on the planet. And you know what, guys? I'm going to fucking do something awesome. This is what I want to do. For episode 50, I want to do a live podcast. Now, what a live podcast is, it's not streamed live, right? It's like in person on a stage. So what I want to do is I want to hire out a venue, and I want to get all of the podcast fans to come and just enjoy themselves, and we'll have guests, we'll do a whole fucking show, and we'll do the podcast live. Now, I wanted to put the tickets on sale this episode, so we'd have 10 episodes to sell it, because here's the thing, I'm not going to advertise this show on Facebook, I'm not going to advertise it on Twitter or Snapchat, unless I don't sell any tickets. I'm only going to talk about it on the podcast, right? Because I only want you guys to know about it. It's a bit of a secret club show because you guys are a fairly tight-knit fucking group. Not everybody listens to the podcast, but those that do listen to the podcast seem to really enjoy it. So I want to make sure that podcast listeners are the guys who at least get very first dibs at coming to this show. However, we've been talking to venues, and we seem to have locked in a date and a time, but I'm being told that it's irresponsible to put the tickets on sale until the contracts are signed. And you know what? That's a fairly good point. But people are telling me you can't tell people about this show yet. You can't tell them what date it's on. You can't tell them where it's going to be. But you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm just gonna like say things that sound like it would probably happen. Like if this contract was signed on Monday, this is what the show could be. So if I were to do it, and if I were to organize it, but keep in mind, guys, this is not me announcing it. All right, me saying all of these things is not announcing the show. It's not telling you guys about it because it's hypothetical. I mean, even if everything that I say now turns out to be 100% true and correct next week, this doesn't count as me announcing it, okay? So, I mean, if I were to do a show, it might be on the 14th of January because that's a couple of days before episode 50, and that's like a Saturday night, and if I was to do it, which this isn't announcing it, it'd probably be on on a Saturday night in Melbourne City in a bar. And look, if I were to do this, I would probably have guests that have been on the podcast previously. Their names would sound like Darled Dullafalla. It'd also sound like Gelliot Goni and Duke Digil, but they could sound like many other things as well. Me saying those, if you figure out that those three names that I said also rhyme with people that I've worked with and people you would expect to be on the podcast, that's just a coincidence, is what I'm trying to say. That has no bearing on this announcement. It's nothing in relation to this. This isn't even an announcement. This is just me talking about a hypothetical situation that might happen. And hypothetically, if it was to get locked in, all of the information to get tickets would be announced next week in next week's podcast. So, I mean, all of that information is a lie. And it's not true, it's a hypothetical, and it's not a show announcement. So don't get excited about this show, because it doesn't exist yet, and you don't know about it, and I haven't organised it, okay? But if it was to happen, it'd be exactly like all of those things. But it might probably not going to happen, okay? So that's what episode 50 might be. Could not be. So, make sure you're ready next week. Actually, just in case, because it might not be ready next week. So just in case, be ready, to get some tickets. Because if it were to be done, it would be a very exclusive show just for the podcast listeners, all right? But it's not happening. So it's not, all right? All right, what am I talking about? What else did I want to talk about? I've got here. I got in a lot of trouble, didn't I? Hey, these past couple of days, I got a little bit of controversy for a little joke that I told, and fuck, it was fun. I've been missing some controversy. You guys know I love that shit. You guys all love that shit. Okay, let me explain the situation. What happened is this week at Dreamworld, a ride tipped over and killed 4 people. That's fucking horrible. That's absolutely terrible and really sad. But I saw that and thought, I'm gonna make a joke, right? I'm gonna write a joke, and I went onto Twitter because I can't help myself. And what did I write? Let me have a look. I'll just bring it up here. So this was on the same day, right? So I heard about it in the news. I was like, that's really horrible. And then I got on Twitter and I was like, now I'm going to write a joke. Right, so what did I write? Let me find it here. Sorry, you guys know. You already know that I can't remember fucking anything ever. So you should not be surprised that I can't even remember my own jokes that I've written. Right, so scrolling down. All right, so on the same day, it was about 6 hours after it happened. It was in the news and all that shit. And I tweeted out, imagine standing in line for 3 hours just to die on the worst ride that Dreamworld has. Which I think is a pretty funny joke. And then a whole bunch of people started yelling at me, too soon, which is a fucking stupid thing to say. So I followed it up with, saying too soon just means one day I'll be able to joke about this. Sorry, but I don't wait in line for anything. This isn't Dreamworld. Which you really can't deny. Those 2 jokes are very well-constructed jokes, right? They have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and a follow-up, and a throwback. That's like classic fucking joke, right? And that went really, really well. Like on Facebook, it got like almost 6,000 likes and 1,000 shares. Like people thought it was really funny. But then I started to get the people who interpreted my joke to mean that I was laughing at the tragedy. And that's fucking stupid. Comedians always get in trouble for talking about tragedies, for joking about tragedies. And for some reason, fucking idiots seem to think that because I wrote a joke about a tragedy, that means I'm laughing about the tragedy. That's not fucking true, right? And comedians are the only people who get in trouble for creating art out of horrible shit. Like, musicians can write songs about people dying, painters can paint about people dying, photographers can take photos of the tragedy while it's happening and sell those photos, and that's fine. That's an art, right? But comedians can't do it because people get offended. And I want to explain to you why I think that's fucking horse shit, okay? And this whole reaction to my joke and a few other people's jokes has inspired me to write a bit about it, and I think it's going to be a really good bit for my next show. So I'll keep all the jokes out of it, right? I'll just do the serious shit so it doesn't get ruined at my show. When I see a tragedy, I'll just use this example, okay? When I heard about 4 people dying at Dreamworld, I didn't see that shit and laugh. That's not funny. That's a fucking tragedy, right? 4 people dying is not funny. My joke, however, was fucking hilarious, okay? And the thing is, when I write a joke, that doesn't make the tragedy funny. That doesn't change reality. That doesn't all of a sudden mean I'm mocking the death of someone, okay? What that means is the tragedy is still sad and still horrible, but my joke about the tragedy is funny. In the same way I write jokes about sad shit, right? If I write a joke about someone dying, I don't see that person die and laugh at them. In the same way, when a musician sees a tragedy happen, he doesn't see it and go, fuck, That's a sick track. That's a fucking awesome song. No, he feels sad, and then he uses that feeling to create music. And he never gets in shit for it. Here's a good example. Do you remember that Pumped Up Kick song? All the other kids with the pumped up kicks, better run, run, like a... You know that song? That was a radio hit for about a year, and that's describing a mass shooting from the perspective of the guy killing children in a high school. That is describing in detail, these children had better run from me because I'm going to kill them with my gun. They better run faster than my bullets. It's like a fucking psychopath's manifesto, and they played it on the radio because it had a catchy tune. And I'll be straight up with you guys, it's a fucking great song. I love that song. But if I were to make a really good joke about the same thing, all of a sudden, that's disrespectful. That's me laughing at the death of children. Nah, that's not. That's me laughing at a joke about the tragedy. Two separate things. I can't tell you how many times I've watched the 9/11 documentary and cried my fucking eyes out like a bitch, but then also seen a whole bunch of jokes about 9/11 and pissed myself, also like a bitch, right? Two separate things. Just because you laugh at a joke about something doesn't mean that you are laughing at the tragedy. You're laughing at the joke, which are two separate things. Am I crazy for thinking that? Whatever. But so far, I honestly think that's the best joke that I've seen about it, because there have been a few other ones, right? A few other people actually know, right? There was one better than mine. That was fucking great, okay? So I'll talk about one other one that I heard. There was a guy on the radio, I think it was the next day. He was like a radio host in Tasmania, I believe, and they were talking about something bad, like some minor inconvenience, and laughing about it, joking about it. And then he went, "Oh well, it's no flipping over on a ride and going under the conveyor belt, because that's how the people die." And then he ended up getting suspended. That wasn't that funny, right? A bit of a shit joke. Shouldn't have said it on radio, you dickhead. I mean, you could say the joke, but if I wouldn't have said it on radio, because then you know you're going to get fired for that, man. You fucking idiot. Of course you know that shit. As soon as you say that, you're going to be headlines for 2 days at least, right? Dickhead, shouldn't have said it. And he was headlines and then got fucking fired. The best joke I heard, though, there's a couple of memes that of like the ride, and then it says Final Destination 4. That's pretty funny. However, the best one that I saw was from a guy that worked at Dreamworld on that day. And he wrote, he wrote the day after, you know what, I gotta find it. Give me a second on pause. I have to read it word for word because it's a masterpiece. It has to be given the respect it deserves. Alright, I'm back, okay? So, this guy worked at Dreamworld on the day. I've got exactly what he wrote, okay? And he went on Facebook. Where was it? He did it the day after. He writes on Facebook, "Just heading back to Dreamworld to tighten up the conveyor belt. Was supposed to do it after Smoko, but forgot." Oh, fuck. And then after that, he posted an article to the Dreamworld news report going, "Oops, I knew I forgot something." And that's fucking brutal. Like, that's to the extreme, because he was quite close to the event. But, I don't know, like, I can understand why you would be offended by that. I totally understand if you were fucking close family. But if you're just some cunt who has no connection to the family at all, why do you care about that? You know? And if you really want to get offended by something, how about this? Right? The news went straight there, straight away, took photos of the dead bodies, filmed the wreckage, filmed the cleanup, filmed people, fuck off ads, and the news has ads, right? I don't have fucking intrusive ads. Oh my God, sorry. I don't have intrusive ads like that. Sorry, I got really angry. Right? The news, they send video cameras to film people crying. They pay for footage of children screaming. They describe in detail how the children were fucking reacting to seeing their parents crushed to death. And then they have the audacity to publish the family member's request for privacy in their article and then continue to write day after day about this shit. And they create fucking 3D animated recreations of how the people died, how they got crushed. They're allowed to do that shit and publish the faces of the dead and the family and interview them and surround their house and call them and offer them money to talk about it while they're grieving. They're allowed to do that, but comedians aren't allowed to bring some fucking light into the darkness by saying some jokes, right? Let's just let that double stand sit there, all right? Yeah, just really, I think the media is fucking gross, really, how they've been doing that. Because who's really worse here, right? Me, the guy who tells a joke for people who are on Twitter, or the media who surround the victims' houses, interact with them personally, try and pay them for statements, and potentially show the jokes that other people have written to them, right? Fucking leave them alone. And you know what makes me laugh as well is I was the first person to write a joke about it that went big. As far as I know, I was surely one of the first people to write about it. And there has not been one news article about me. And you want to know why? It's because I can't get fired. They can write a news article about me and then I'll go, yeah, I said it. Yep, I thought it was funny. Fuck you. Right? The only reason they didn't write shit about me is because they can't do a follow-up story where the media wins and I lose my job because nobody employs me, no one controls me, right? The media guy, he said the joke, the guy on the radio, he said the joke, the media published it, and then he got suspended and he might lose his job. So that's 2 articles that they can write, and then when he comes back on radio, they can go, the guy who said this is back on radio, disgusting, right? That's 3 articles they can write to profit from fucking outrage and incite anger, okay? The guy who works at Dreamworld, they can write the article about what he said and then write it, he's been fired and blah, 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 and all this kind of shit. But they can't do that with me, so they haven't written an article. So you can see the news doesn't give a fuck about the jokes. They give a fuck about the money. That's what they're after. Okay? Right. What else am I talking about today? You know what? I think it's time to do the worst part of the podcast. Miscellaneous bit at the end. I don't want to do it. You don't want to listen. I think it's time for you guys to turn your fucking... just turn it off. You don't want to hear this shit. It's horrible, okay? Let me tell you a story. One day, I went to Dreamworld. And I lined up to go on the water rapids ride. And I got on the ride... after waiting for like 3 hours. It was a fucking huge wait, right? I got on the ride, went on the ride, and then it was kind of fun on the way down, but then like we hit another carriage that was in front of us, and then my carriage flipped over, and my whole arm got ripped off by the fucking conveyor belt. I barely escaped with my life. One of the most painful and terrifying experiences of my life. I have no arm. I'm in constant pain. The media has surrounded my house trying to pay me for a statement. And you know what? I would still rather do that and lose another arm than do miscellaneous bit at the end. Okay? So let's get into it. As you guys know, miscellaneous bit at the end is where you guys ask me questions. If you want to send me a question, you can email contact@luzspears.com. What? Contact@luzspears.com, dickhead. Fucking, I thought I told you to write it down 2 episodes ago. And you know what? I did. And that joke went on for too long. Lots of people told me that it wasn't funny, so I'm going to end it. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to do it for too long again. I'm just going to end it now. Just kidding. Write it down. All right, now I'm done. Okay? So if you want to send an email, it's contact@luzspears.com. Make sure you include podcast somewhere in there so I can find it in my emails. I need to get a fucking podcast email. I need to get podcast@luzspears. I think that's what I need to get. Maybe I'll have that for next week. Right. Okay, so... here we go. G'day, cunt. Right, so recently I showed my girlfriend you... oh, you showed my shit to your girlfriend. Okay. Recently I showed my girlfriend you, and she saw your punch me in the face bit. She saw your punch me in the face video from your... sorry. Dude, you can't write. She saw your punch me in the face video from your podcast. All right, so if you don't know what that is, I was talking about a story when a girl asked me to punch her in the face during sex, and I couldn't do it. I was scared that she was going to go to the cops, right? I didn't want to punch her. That was the video. And ever since, she's been asking me to punch her in the face every time we fuck. Oh no, dude. Oh, man, that's terrifying. I know exactly how you feel. At first, I thought it was a joke, but she seems to be getting serious. She seems to be getting more and more serious, to the extent where she actually started bringing it up at random times, asking for a serious answer. What should I do? Fuck. By the way, I'm doing VCE exams at the moment, and I just got into your podcast, but the miscellaneous bit at the end makes me want to claw at my ears with a rusty spoon and write my English exam again with the blood from my eye sockets and hang myself with my optic nerves. But yeah, good show. Keep it up, cunt. Thanks, mate. Wow, I don't know, man. See, this is your girlfriend. The girl the girl who asked me to punch her in the face, that was just a girl that I was seeing. Like, she wasn't a girlfriend in any, definition of the word. So this is your girlfriend, and she's bringing it up outside of sex. That happened to me as well, right? It wasn't during sex. She asked me beforehand, hey, I really want you to punch me in the face. And I just didn't do it, right? I was like, I asked her about it, and then I didn't say that I would do it, and then I didn't do it. And then I think we only slept together once, and then that was it. But this is your girlfriend. So this is a thing that she wants you to do. Look, man, I don't know. So even if it's consensual, right? Punching someone in the face, you can really hurt someone. Even a girl punching a guy in the face, you could fuck up teeth, you could leave a mark, you could break her nose. Like, I don't think this girl knows what it's like to be punched in the face. I think that surely there is no way you could enjoy getting punched in the face. Like, that would be the extent of that kinky sexual shit, right? I mean, I understand spanking because there's no real way you can hurt someone with that, but because you hit with the palm of your hand or your fingers, but a punch is like a fucking knuckle, like hard bone directly into the face. That's, I don't know, man. I don't think you can do it. I think you might really fucking hurt her if you do. And I don't think that you want to have that on your criminal record. Oh, she wanted me to punch her. So that's what you're going to tell the cops? They're going to believe you? You can't do it, man. I think that you're going to have to... Okay, here's what you do. You're going to have to downgrade it to a slap. Okay? Because I've done that to girls when they've asked me to do it. Never super hard. But you're going to have to downgrade it to that, okay? Because if you punch a girl, you could not only hurt her, but you could disfigure her, right? You could knock out some adult teeth, you could break her nose, you could leave a cut on her eyebrow. There is no way to punch someone unless you do it really soft without fucking up their face. And if you do it really soft, I assume that's not what she's after. So you're going to have to negotiate, right? You're going to have to sit down at a mediation table, sit your girlfriend down and go, look, Sarah, right? I understand that you want me to king hit you. But if I do that, I'm going to fuck up your face, and I really like your face, baby. No, I know. No, I don't think you know what it's like to be punched. Have you ever been punched? Let me show you, right? What you should do... No, okay. Let me finish my dialogue and then I'll come up with another idea, okay? Because this is funny to me. Look, baby, I don't think you know what it's like to be punched in the face, right? One time I accidentally elbowed, a stranger in the head and they got a blood nose, and that wasn't even hard. That wasn't even a fist. If I punched you with enough force for it to be considered a punch, even like the minimum amount of force for it to be considered a punch, you're going to cry. I know you're going to cry. No, don't tell me that you can take it, because I know that you can't. You've never been punched. Have you seen someone get punched? No, you haven't. See, I have at a party, and it was fucking brutal. No one wants to get punched. Here, look, let me turn on the UFC. Look at that. That's what happens when you get punched. Can you see how fucked up that guy's face is? That's because he got punched. You want to be that guy? You want to look like fucking Aldo with your cauliflower ears just because I keep punching you in the side of the head when we fuck? Is that what you want? Do you want to have to drain your cauliflower ears because I fucking elbow you in the ear while we're doing anal? No, you don't. Okay? If I punch you in the face, you're going to die, Sarah. I'm not going to do it. Having said that, what I'm prepared to offer you, I'll extend an olive branch. I will slap you in the face. Okay? We're going to downgrade it from a punch to a slap. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit you with the fingers on my hand. Not the palm, right? You can't loophole this shit. I'm not going to fucking hit you with the butt of my palm and in the nose so that your nose bone goes straight up into your brainstem and then you die in my bed, because I don't want to deal with the guilt. I'll lightly tap you on the face with my fingers, and we'll see how you like that. And I'm prepared to apply more force as we go along with the slap, but we're going to start with a very light one, and we're going to see how you like that. And then we can move it up. And if you can take a full force slap on the face without crying, then, and only then, will I consider giving you a light punch. And that's what you do, man. That's how you negotiate your way from decking your girlfriend to just a little nice kinky little slap. No, but seriously, that's what I would do, man, because you didn't say anything about slapping her, so I assume that she's not done that. So I think that you should, that for her sake, if she has to get hit, because if that's what she's into, that's what she's into, right? You can't really fucking judge her. You can't try and make her not be into that. If that's what she wants, that's what she wants, and you should at least try to accommodate that, right? Like, give it a go, okay? So give a really light slap a go, man. And if she can handle that and genuinely enjoy that, amplify the force. And if she can take a full-on one, see, I still can't recommend you punch your girlfriend, even if over the course of the year you work from to a full-on in the face. I still can't recommend that you punch a girl. I'm sorry, dude, but that's what I would. That'd be what I would do. Okay, I would negotiate with my girl, and I'd be like, look, I'll give you a light slap. We'll see how you like it. If you enjoy that, we can do it a little bit harder and work our way from there. And then if we get to the point where I can't slap you any harder, I'll consider punching you. Otherwise, right, you could do this. That's my serious answer. Now I'm going to have some fun, okay? What you could do is you could be like, all right, Sarah, his girlfriend name, he didn't give his girlfriend's name. I'm assuming that her name's Sarah, okay? You could be like, all right, Sarah, fine. Let's see. I don't think you know what it's like to be punched. Stand up. And then she stands up and you go, what I'm going to do, Sarah, is I'm going to cork you on the arm at about the third of the force I would use in a regular punch that you're looking for. And then you just fucking, what can I bang? You just fucking, like that, on her arm, and she's gonna cry and she'll have a bruise for fucking 3 years. And then she'll be like, nah, you know what? I don't want to get punched. So yeah, dude, that's all I can recommend. I would really like an update. If you could give me an update on this, let me know how that talk goes, if you have the talk with it, or if you have another solution that you come up with on your own. I really want to know how this pans out, man. So definitely email back when there's a development. Speaking of updates, we have our first podcast question update. All of the advice that I've given, no one's updated me, right? I haven't heard about the guy who wants to fuck the twins. He hasn't got back to me. I haven't heard back from the old woman Rhoda who wants to fuck her fitness partner, right? Haven't heard from her. I haven't heard back from anyone, but I have heard back from this lovely lady, all right? So she emailed in, and let me just say that when I gave this girl advice, her name is Sasha, when I gave Sasha advice, I copped so much shit for it. But you know what? Fuck you, cunts, because she's real happy, okay? right? So when Sasha first emailed in, she was a 28-year-old woman who was studying medicine in Yale, I believe. Let me have a look at her original email that she sent me a while ago, right? She was blah, blah, blah. No, Harvard, right? She was studying at Harvard Medical School for 8 years. Fuck, that's crazy. And she hated medicine and she doesn't want to be a doctor. So I told her that you should put your studying on hold. She hated being a doctor and she wanted to try comedy, but she's never done it. So I told her that you should pause your studying if you absolutely hate it, and you should go and pursue comedy for like a year, take a gap year, have a break from medicine, throw yourself into comedy and see if you like it, because you might hate it if she's never done it before, and see what she can make of it. And she sent me the original email in July, so that is a number of months ago. I don't know my fucking months. Dude, I reckon every episode you guys find out that I'm stupid. Like a little bit dumber than you thought I was. Like when I first started this podcast, I got so many angry people correcting me and saying, "You're a fucking idiot, you got this wrong." Because I think that because my Lou reviews are so well researched, they assumed that I was smart. I'm not, okay? I'm a fucking moron. I don't know my calendar months. Let's give it a go, right? I'm not looking at any screens, right? This is an honest attempt at me doing the 12 months. So January, February, March, April, May, July, June, August, September, September, October, November, December. I don't know if that's right, okay? That could be correct, but I'm incredibly unsure. Okay, right. So it was 3 months, I don't know, fucking a few months ago. She sent me in July, and then this week she got back to me. And she said, "Hi, Lewis, it's Sasha again. You probably don't remember me, but I'm that 28-year-old girl who followed her dad's dream of becoming a doctor and hated her life. Isn't that just a shit decision summed up? So many people do that, man. It fucking hurts seeing people follow their parents' dreams. Followed her dad's dream of becoming a doctor and hated her life. In one of your podcast episodes ages ago, I believe it was number 25. So she thinks it's number 25. She would know better than me, probably. You answered my question in episode 25. Although I have since contracted terminal cancer due to listening to the miscellaneous bit at the end, you did... Fuck, that's a good in-joke, isn't it? That's a nice little fucking joke that we all can share. And it's about cancer. Although I contracted terminal cancer, you did give me some great advice and told me I should take a gap year and try to pursue comedy, since that's what I actually want to do with my life. And guess what? I did. Fuck yeah! Well done! Well done, Sasha. And to everyone who told me that I was a fucking moron for telling her to do that, fuck you, alright? Because this might turn out to be a terrible idea. Sasha's email could finish with, "And now I'm homeless thanks to you, you fucking asshole." But you know what? She listened to me. So she listened. So either I'm a genius or Sasha's an idiot. We'll see how this email pans out. She's an idiot for listening to me. Or I'm a genius. Let's see. All right. Thanks to you, guess what I did? Thanks to you, I seriously decided to put my 10 years of medical school on hold and take a year off with almost no money in the bank and try comedy. Get used to that. I'm still not sure it was a good idea, but if I end up homeless, at least I can blame you. Oh, well, see, there we go. It might turn out to be a bad idea, and then I'll be, responsible for a homeless person, which, not many people can say they've done. Lots of people can say that they've done comedy, but not many people can say they've inspired and been the cause of a person becoming homeless. So that's at least a story to tell the grandkids. I actually have my first ever gig 2 weeks from now at a random bar, and even though it's only 5 minutes, it's going to be filled with 50-year-old alcoholics. I'm ridiculously fucking excited. Well done, Sasha. I'm excited for you as well. I remember my first gig and it was a lot of fun. I want to say a huge thank you to you. I don't know if you'll talk about this on your next podcast, but if you do, I want every listener to know that if I can take a risk as big as this to pursue my passion, anyone can. That's really nice, Sasha. Again, thank you, Lewis. You're absolutely amazing. I wish you nothing but happiness and success. Oh, by the way, my boyfriend of 6 years who broke up with me, remember him? He's a massive fan of yours too, and when he heard you mention me on his podcast, he went ballistic and started begging me to get back with him. Needless to say, I told him that ship has sailed. Lots of love, Sasha. Well, look, Sasha, your boyfriend's a fan of me. I'm not going to pick any sides, so I probably shouldn't have read that. If you're listening to this, Sasha's ex-boyfriend, sorry, bro, and I don't know, don't stop hitting on her. That seems to be what she's trying to say. Find another girl. And Sasha, that's really cool. I'm proud of you, man. That's really cool that you've done that. Advice for your first set. From here, Sasha, now that you're actually doing comedy, if I could give you any advice, be prepared and accept and be totally zen with the fact that you might be fucking terrible for at least a month, right? Because that's an important part of learning absolutely anything. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you're probably going to be a little bit shit at the start or incredibly shit. It doesn't matter how shit you are at the start. If you're a little bit good or the worst anyone's ever seen, it doesn't matter. It's the start, right? So the problem with comedy is, unfortunately, we have to practice it in front of people who are expecting good comedians. So if you get no laughs for even the first 2 months, don't worry. Just keep pursuing. Every bad gig is something that you can learn from. Record your sets with audio and remember, try and remember what it felt like when you were on stage and how the crowd reacted to you, and modify your jokes through that. But yeah, be totally okay with being shit, because you have to be shit to get good. I remember my first set, I actually did really well. I did a lot better than I thought I would go. Only one of my jokes got 0 response. And then my second gig went pretty all right, and I was like, fuck, I must be a freak at this. I'm really good. People are laughing at my stuff, and it's only my second gig. And then I had my third gig, and I tanked harder than I've ever tanked in my life. Nobody laughed. Someone told me that I was bad afterwards, and that room that I performed at didn't book me again for another 3 months. So you will suck at the start, and that is totally okay, because that is how you get good. So good luck to you, Sasha. I hope that your gig goes well, and by the time I make it to America, you could be at my level that I'm in Australia by now, right? See, that's the goal, right? When I want to open, by the time I make it to America, I want to open for you, right? Let's make that a deal, because I'm... All right, and that's how it'll work. Okay, you'll be a fucking superstar in America, and I'll be nobody over there, and I'll come and open for your shows, and that'll be the deal. Well done, Sasha. Appreciate the input, the update, and yeah, that's sick. That's about it, guys. I'll briefly talk about the porn star video. So that was a video that I was really, really proud of. Miscellaneous bit at the end is over now. We can all stop cutting yourselves. Untie the noose, step down from the west gate, and we're all good. So the porn star video is something that I'm really, really proud of. I'm fucking incredibly happy with how that came out. Danny Wilde, the porn star dude who looks like me, was just terrific. He was such a good sport, and he was totally on board from the second that I messaged him. And I've been working on that video for like 2 months, because I had to organize Skyping with him, and then I had to write the script, obviously, and then I had to film with Chelsea, the beautiful girl that I was in the hotel with in that porn star sketch where she played Crystal. She was really great as well, and that was her first time acting. I actually met her at a gig, and then I was like, fuck, you would actually... I remember I messaged her, right, and I was like, hey, I'm doing a sketch and I think that you have the right look for it, because I had never spoken to her. I just recognized her face from the audience one night. I remember I looked at her in the audience, and then I saw her on Instagram, and I was like, oh, that's the girl that came to the show because she liked one of my things or something. And then I messaged her, and I was like, hey, you look like you could look good alongside... alongside me in this sketch that I'm writing. She got back to me. She's like, oh, I'd really like to do it, but I have a really American accent. And I was like, it makes you fucking perfect. That is exactly what I need. Because otherwise I was going to try and get some chick to do an American accent, and it would have been fucking horrible. So the fact that she had that was just like an awesome coincidence. And that puts you leagues ahead of all of the other girls who I'm talking to about this role. And she killed it, and that was her first time acting. So that was really cool. And filming it with her was great. And she got lots of good feedback. So I guess I'll have her in more videos. And with Danny, he will come on the podcast probably in October. What month is it now? It is... Let me have a look. Yeah, I'm thinking he'll come on next month. No, November, right? If November's after October, who knows? Yeah, so I'm going to have him sometime in November. He was just really busy, and we're going to talk about how he got into porn, how he got out of it, what he's doing now, all that kind of shit. And I think that'll be really interesting because there was so much interesting shit that we talked about on Skype that I just cut out of the video because it wasn't relevant to the overall thing because I didn't want it to be too long. But, the guy's, he was a fucking pro for a long time. The dude's, he's fucked Lisa Ann, like the Michael Jordan of porn. He's done a whole bunch of stuff, and I think that'll be a really interesting podcast. So stay tuned to that. It'll be sometime in November. I don't know. But yeah, that's about all I wanted to talk to you guys about this week. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed a little bit of crowd footage or recorded crowd interactions. I'm going to try and do that more often. It depends how often I fucking perform in front of drunk idiots who heckle me. But we'll see. And as always, if you would like to catch the podcast early, support me on Patreon. And no matter how much you give, whether it's fucking 50 cents a month or $100 a month, you get the podcast early before anybody else. You can listen to it then. Check me out on patreon.com/losespears. And that's how I afford food and don't have to be a meth dealer. So thank you very much for listening, guys, and have a fucking shit one.